I came back from the GP and said to my husband, well, it's not cancer. It's something called IPF. So tapped it in. 20% mortality within 3 years, 50% within 5. I said, oh my God, it might not be cancer, but it doesn't sound too good.
Got absolutely damn terrified. Yeah, you really had. And you're thinking, gosh, you're thinking, right, I must start making preparations for it. So I did. I thought I was being very clever. So I started out one of these funeral plans.
I don't think it was clear to me that the usual prognosis is only 3 years. I don't think I understood that at the time that I was diagnosed. So for me, I lived in a sense, I wouldn't say a fool's paradise, but I lived without worrying about it for a period of three or 4 years before it started to kick in.
After diagnosis, my world fell apart. Never heard of the disease. Had to research the disease. I googled the disease and again I went into bouts of depression because there was no cure, and people kept on mentioning 3 to 5 years. At 53, could not believe it. I was a triathlete.
I found I was really angry when I first got the first letter. I was really angry. After I'd been given the diagnosis in January, very shortly after that I was given a letter to say that they wanted me to come in March to monitor the disease progression. And I felt so angry that I actually physically tore up the letter. My Irish temper came out because I thought, how dare you tell me that I'm getting worse without any effective treatment.
When Ron was diagnosed, we were in the office and he switched off, and I was listening to what she was saying, 3 to 5 years. You go home, you Google it, and it's like you've been struck with a bomb or something. It just absolutely wipes you away.
I do remember there was one point when I was talking to my cousin, I think we were staying with them, and I was suddenly overwhelmed by this awful feeling of kind of, not terror, but just a complete dark sadness. And I thought, this feels so bad. This feeling is so bad. And I don't ever want to feel that.
A lot of my family will say, you're going to get better, or there must be medication that makes you better. No, I'm sorry, there's not. The future scares me. The future frightens me, because even as well as I look, I just walking up a flight of stairs, walking up a hill, I get to the top and I'm breathless. And being breathless is quite scary sometimes.
You do have those moments. You have those like the darker times where you think, what does this disease mean for me, and how is it going to affect me in the future? What am I? You tend to concentrate on, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm not going to be able to do this. How do I know in 5 years' time that I'm going to be fit enough just to say, to go on a holiday or whatever, or do what you want? So when you hit those moments of despair, which you will do, and you know, that's, I think, is quite acceptable to hit those moments of despair, you've got to realise that, you know, you've got a major disease. It's okay to feel like that. That's when you get the support of your family, the support of the people at Papworth, and you will come out the other end.
Give yourself some time and some space. Realise that this is quite a big thing. And then try and take comfort from the fact that you will be supported, and they are very different. And you still have control over it. You feel maybe perhaps you haven't got control because this disease has been imposed on you. However, you can still maintain a very healthy lifestyle and keep as fit and as active as you can. Eat, as nutritionally as you can, and just keep positive. I think being positive is very important, which is difficult, but try not to allow yourself to dwell in it too much.
For me, one thing that was really important, well, two things. One was the exercise. Another one was the information. having information about the disease that helped you understand what was happening to you and what the options were. But the third thing, which I was very sceptical about to start with, was the support group. I mean, I thought support groups, things like that, I didn't want to go into a room full of ill people. And I was in trepidation about it. And eventually I went, and I just came out of there with a spring in my step. I walked into a room with another 60 people, all who had the same disease as me, who were generally positive, in good state, enjoying life. We had a lot of fun. We could share stories and experiences about how we managed things, how different treatments were working. And it was just totally empowering.
I think the things that have helped me is having a support group, joining a support group. Also, there are some support groups on Facebook that we talk to each other and we swap notes, we swap ideas, and I would say joining a support group was my turning point.
Carers are more cautious about offloading onto their other halves. Yes, I do talk to Ron about how I feel and what my future holds. We're very open and honest, which helps. But when things progress and they're in the depths of what they're coping with, you can't be saying, well, what about me and things, because that's not what we do as a human race. So my support comes from the people around me who are in the support group, and like Ron says, there is a carers support group on the Facebook for pulmonary fibrosis, and we vent a lot on there. A lot of them need support from that. But you don't know the road you're going to travel, and that's the bit that is very scary from our point of view. None of us know exactly how this is going to progress.
They've sometimes been told, by the consultants, by the doctors and the staff, that 3 to 5 years. And then, of course, they also look on the internet, same as we did, and see a lot of that. So when they turn up at the support group meetings, they are absolutely terrified and still in a state of shock. And then you turn around and say, well, forget it. The amount of us here that have outlived that, throws that right into the waste bin.
Being part of a support group, there are always partners there who are with the patient, for want of a better word, who are going through exactly the same. So there we are, it's a hand-holding exercise all the way through. And anybody who we can help in any way, we like to think we like to be able to provide all the information that we can. There was a couple who came to one of the pulmonary fibrosis exercise bits, a lass called Sue, and she was traumatised. She really was traumatised. She was supposed to be going to a wedding in the autumn, and this was the spring. And she said, I'm not going to buy an outfit because I'll probably be dead by then. It was that traumatic. And we managed to encourage her and support her and her husband. And now she's a fantastic girl, isn't she? Full of life and bounce. And she is, of course, living with the condition.
I feel as though I'm part of a group that kind of helps each other out and explains, and you can talk to each other and see what sort of different reactions you get to the problem. And I think that's quite helpful, because one person said, well, I feel like that, and I think so, well, that's good, because I think so, that's only me who feels like that. But when you talk to people and they've got the same sort of problems, then you feel more relaxed about it because you're sharing your problem, you know what I mean? So it's good if people do get diagnosed with it, I think it's best for them to really seek out more help, really.
It's a nice, satisfying feeling when you can help somebody like that and allay their fears, which is the aim of the support group. It's a case of somebody turns up at the support group, absolutely terrified, puts out a hand for help, and somebody will hold it.